and welcome to Bronze Chef Zero Raybon. And we are here today for a little bit of cooking. Let's get to it. So, first off, we're gonna start with just, some yapping here. Basically, at least that's how I see it, the chef is the backbone of any village or group. Like, the miners got the progression, the explorers and the hunters, they got the production coming in. This one's, and the farmers, they keep things going, and they provide a lot of natural resources and stuff like that, through wheat, carrots, and all kinds of vegetables and stuff, especially with the flax and everything else. Most of the time, the chef will also double as a farmer or even a crafter, since they rely on the same stats. They mostly heavily rely on dexterity. Some of the earlier things will require survival, like the nut jerkies and stuff. So through pit baked goods will probably be your earliest source of foods too, but is a required perception, survival, and lore, where a lot of the other more signature dishes, let's see, just like with sausages, dexterity and cooking, most of the stats that you will be looking for is perception and dexterity. And of course you'll be relying on lore, cooking, and survival, especially with like the earlier pig baked goods, like the fruit roast of this one's. They are still pretty solid foods even into the mid game, at least until things can get going for you. One things to do, keep in notes. Pretty much everything matters quality wise. The spit roast, even the ovens, even the fuel you put into them, they all matter. So while a chef is just pretty much a thankless job, at least from what I've seen, they are pretty much the mainstay of any. I guess you could say they do help a lot with the progression of characters. A bad chef would cook, very little foods. They would only cook for one or two people. And it's a lot of work to take care of people, especially with your hunters and miners. They'll be fighting over that strength food. And the crafters, your farmers, and even yourself will be fighting over the dexterity food as well. So it largely depends on how well you cook things, as well as how well the different things are made. Like these symbols, the basically utensils and different things that are created and can get used to help lower the hunger modifier, as well as the food event bonus. Pretty much, you really do not want to eat anything that's not on a table. But if you are at yellow energy, you can just eat and it won't do anything for you. So keep that in mind. Like some of your worst foods, you can just eat through and you'll be okay. I need to get the healing though. And there you go. As soon as that green bar is there, you don't want to eat any more like that, because it will affect your hunger and your FEPs. I know I have touched on this a little bit before on a different video, but I like to keep things organized here. Hunger, the hunger level, the more this rises, the less effective that the foods will be that you eat. And the food satiations, it is also kind of the same, but this disappears much more quickly. Like I eat a bunch of the pan-seared pan-seared fish. If I'm thinking it right, it would mean like if this was 50%, I would be getting half or less from eating any more of the pan-seared fish. One way to fight cetaceans is to use the different alcohols and whatnot, like the wine, the cider, the Viber, and different things like that. So as you're cooking, as you are cooking, keep that in mind, as there is a lot to do. Pretty much you can tell them if they don't like it, well then they can fix their own food. But please don't do that though, because they might wind up ruining and eating through your entire stocks for minimal gains. I will be breaking this up in multiple videos, as there is a lot to go through on cooking, so I'm just gonna go through a few things at a time. First, we're gonna start with like the early game foods and stuff, like you just started, or you're just going through and trying to get things set up so people can have stuff to set their stats up. A lot of people who aren't really good at cooking, or who don't want to bother too much about it, what they like to do is they like to put fish onto drying racks, and after a really long period of time, they get their stats that way. But really, having a skilled and intelligent chef to pick through and get things done was really a backbone of any group that they will be in, because not only with the stats that they will be using or preferring between dexterity, perception, and going through with the lore and the cooking, the survival, and maybe not so much on survival, but a lot of times, especially we got hunt-happy people, they tend to leave carcasses lying around, and they kind of forget about them, because they go out and they hunt out a lot of food. Sometimes they'll do it, sometimes they won't. So it's always a good idea to keep the survival up and make sure that your miners are getting you the stones, proper tools that you need. It is no joke that the first metal items that should be made is definitely a frying pan, because that can open up a lot of different recipes, especially one of the better ones. Where is it? Yeah, like livers and onions, the dexterity psych, all important psych. You got your autumn steaks that you can get for your explorers. Crackling cutlets. This is also a pretty solid item. It mostly gives you agility and a little bit of strength, but still that's pretty solid to have on any hunter, because agility is just one of those stats with strength. Then you got like this encumbered roast, if you can find yourselves a cucumber, and yeah, as you can see, it is pretty solid. A +2 strength, chance for that with will, and some perception. There is so much to go through, but a lot of these recipes will be unlocked as soon as you get those frying pans, and that can really help boost your crew and get things going for them, so they can get to the lower mines quicker, and to hunt bigger game for a lot longer. But yes, frying pan, very important. So along the lines of having some of these stats up as well, it can really be handy, especially if you either run out of food, you got a farm going, you can keep that doing, as well as doing various things around the base that needs doing, because a lot of the times in a small groups, it is essential to be kind of the handyman. Everybody has different roles they got to do. Needless to say, as you can see, I am more of kind of like the handyman for everything. But you know, it's alright. I like doing all different kinds of things in this game. Just something about it really keeps dragging me back over and over. Almost every world. It's just been nothing but kind of fun here. Like, right now I can make ships in the bottle, but until my corks get up. Anyways, cooking video. But yeah, since you will be focusing on getting your dexterity up for a lot of meat, especially when you start getting like quality 100 meats and stuff in, you have to be ready to make the most out of it as you can. And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. A good chef will do everything they can. That's why they'll tend to focus on farming as well. So that way, you know, they can guarantee that they have the best trees, you know, and different things like that. So, especially when it comes to, you know, if you have a decent sized group, there will be a lot of farming that needs doing just to feed, you know, keep everybody fed without going too much over the, you know, their hunger. There is a saying to keep in mind, the people that don't really think that cooks are really worth it. If you just eat non-stop, you know, eat whatever you find off the floor, and there is a saying, once your hunger gets up to 300, you might as well just drown the character and start anew, because it takes a long while for the hunger bar to go down, unless you have like salt or something, the rock salt. I believe that reduces the hunger, but only by 15%. So, a few things to keep in mind about that. At one point in another video, I will be going especially over the different alcohols and stuff, because that is very important to keep in mind, as it will reduce, you know, it will let people eat a lot more food without getting a lot more repercussions with it. So with all this in mind, every roll really helps. Trying to find and to make better and more clay, as well as the different plants and stuff that you will need, as well as different crops to maintain, you know, a decent level. Like laurel trees are pretty good. Let's see what trees we have right now. But having easy access to increasing quality of goods. How bad is this? Yuck. But still, it's always good to have an assortment of different things ready and available. Really, in terms of, you know, what you need people to do, especially your hunters, is to keep, as they hunt, to keep the entrails and the intestines separated. So that way, quality honestly doesn't matter early to mid. You're going to use everything you get, and it will just naturally get better. So instead of having like a bunch of quality 10 intestines just lying around or just throwing them away, make use of them, and eventually when you get your hands on some enough bronze to make meat grinder, you can start getting sausages and stuff. And I definitely would like to go over that with you. But yeah, certain setups like this is pretty simple and easy for your hunters to drop the corpses, throw the intestines and entrails on one side, the hide on the other. You know, just to keep the flow going and have your cooking be more efficient and easier. Because if you just let stuff lie around and it's not being used, then it's not really, it's just food going to waste basically. So yeah, I know this is kind of a rather boring and kind of a pointless video for now. I really don't want to have them keep going on long and long and long, and it gets lit. So this one's just stressing the importance of having a cook and respecting them, please. I know a lot of people always gripe, there's not enough food, there's never enough food, what do I do? So yeah, just do keep in mind your cooks, they probably wear many hats around your village, so tread carefully, my friend. For they cook for, yeah, for they cook for you and everyone else, and it's kind of like the whole routine. On top of the other things that they may do around the villager lot. So yeah, just to keep everything off onto one side, we're gonna start with the different things that you can make. Alright, so early on, once you start getting flax or linen, you can start making a chef's hat, which is a nice boost. All you need is flour, string, and one cloth, and this will pretty much be your quick and kind of your only headgear as a chef. Just a little bit of cloth, flour, a string, and this will pretty much be the only hat you are wearing. Just make sure to keep going with the quality, as even at 36 you get up to +10 cooking. And as soon as you are able to make an extraction press, you can throw on some of your your lower quality seeds as you go through culling. You can set some aside enough to make a chef's pen, which is also a really solid early gilding. It's quite easy to make, because it gives +5 cooking, but as something as you should understand, a lot of these things have, as you see here, the value ceiling. Basically, you cannot go over double of what your stats are. So like I could probably go 200 melee combat, 206 farming, but yeah, as you put more ranks into that ability, that ceiling will eventually disappear, and when that ceiling disappears, it might be time to try to get better gear and different things going for that. So you'll always have as much of the whatever stat you have as you need. So without further ado, I hope to get all this yapping out the way, the stuff that is needed. So I hope in the later videos it's just straight to it. So if you're ever kind of lost and you skip this video, that's all right. So so I can just get to the point and make shorter videos ahead of time, so I don't have to worry. And yes, I am going to over edit and reuse that intro, as horrible as it is. I thought of Iron Chef, but I think that's that might be a copyright thing. So what better than to be the Bronze Chef? Alright, so without further ado, thank you for watching, and I'll hope to see you in the next video. It will be more or less about the early game foods and stuff, like the nut roast and the different things that you can make before the other stuff. So just keep that in mind as well. Just try to bear with me.